Hey everyone, welcome to a little life update for all things Chef Briantsao. First off, thank you to everyone who subscribed to the new Raw channel. This is the channel where I like things to be, well, a little bit more raw, a little bit less polished, but also not confined or concerned with things like a regular posting schedule or the algorithm and things like that, or needing to keep the content on the channel consistent. This channel is really for the purposes of allowing me to do whatever I want, whenever I want, without much pressure. For a long time, I was on this 2-episode-a-week schedule, and I just am not able to maintain it with everything that I have going on. So if I was doing YouTube full time, which kind of was the intention, but just because of the nature of who I am and how I do things, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to be able to do just YouTube full time or just the shop full time. I am always going to be juggling things. It's always how I've been. So with that said, though, YouTube is an immensely important thing to me. It is an immensely big part of my life now, but it's also a big part of my income as well. But the point of this video is not to talk about that. Point of this video, what's prompting me to make this particular video, as mentioned in the title, is anxiety and depression. And oh no, here we go, another YouTuber burning out and talking about anxiety and depression. Listen, I've been burnt out. I've been burnt out, guys. If I had a superpower, it would be that for better or for worse, it's just that I don't give up. You know, you literally are going to have to kill me to make me stop. And again, that's for better or for worse. It's led to a lot of the greatest successes in my career, but it's also led to a lot of hardship and heartache. So, yeah, you know, these past, I would say, 7 to 8 months. Well, okay, the shop, Mission Sandwich Social, opened up a little over a year ago, and it has just been the most insane year of my life. And even a little before that, leading up to the construction and opening the shop itself. You know, when the YouTube channel took off was right around the time when the shop was opening. And there was so much momentum behind it at that time that I just did not want to stop. So I was going, you know, hard on YouTube at the same time trying to open up a brand new business. And also playing with my band, which, like, at that time we didn't have much going on, so you know, it worked out that you know, everyone was understanding that I couldn't really commit to much with the band at that time. But I'm also a father, I'm also a husband, you know, have a mortgage like many of you, have car payments, all that type of stuff. Anyway, just, you know, the shop opened. It's you know, Trevor Sternad of Black Dahlia Murder had passed away, and although I wasn't super close to him, it hit me pretty hard because I was just starting to really get to know him, and he was one of my heroes as far as metal music goes, and he lived in the Brooklyn area. So you know, we connected. We did an episode of Sandwich Sunday, which is on, you know, the episode's on my main channel. And, you know, we're texting back and forth and talking about, you know, releasing his sandwich at the shop and collabing and all this type of stuff. And it just, you know, I have some texts from him, you know, like maybe a week or two before what happened, you know, with, you know, when Trevor completed. I'm not going to say it because I think it's bad for the algorithm. But anyway, you know, so it was already a rough start to that year, but you know, I have a lot to be thankful for. I have a healthy family. I, you know, had a business, I YouTube channel taken off. You know, I always do my best to look at the glass half full, because by nature I'm a very pessimistic and negative person. I also for many years had a serious anger problem, and it wasn't until I would say maybe 3 years ago, I really feel like I got it quite in control. I have my moments here and there, but for the most part, particularly I would say this last year, I think I've gotten a pretty good handle on it, and that's through seeking professional help. That's through the support of my loved ones. That's through my wife's seemingly never-ending patience with me. Now, I should say, very clearly want to identify my anger never spilt over into actual physical harm of anyone else. Typically, it was harm to myself in, punching walls or, breaking things, but never, fortunately, never spilt over into actually harming anyone else. That, the shop, it's crushing it. But, when a business first opens, it takes time for things to stabilize, and, you may have a lot of business, doesn't necessarily mean you're profitable yet. The shop had its ups and downs, finally kind of got it stable. And then I'm just going to call him my sous chef, unfortunately, actually, even before that, my grandmother passed away. Then I had the Guga trip literally 2 days afterwards, and I knew my grandmother would not want me to cancel that trip on account of her passing. I was very close to her. Came back, got strep throat for the second time within a 12-month period. I just recovered from it last week. So that means I had strep throat 3 times in this past 12 months. And it's all due to stress. I also have enlarged tonsils, and, I tend to get throat infections very easily. My grandmother passed, followed by, the lowest of lows with the highest of highs, hanging out with Guga, followed by, my sous chef is what I'm going to call him, leaving the shop. I'm not going to go into the full details, but really in probably the worst way possible. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but he did some things just not cool, not okay, and then quit the same day with 0 notice, which kind of flipped my world upside down. And it was funny because literally a week before that happened, I was saying to myself, things have seemed to finally have stabilized. I can start to go to the gym regularly again. I can, kind of create a little schedule for myself, and that just kind of turned things upside down. I went into this fight or flight mode, and got things handled. We stuck the landing, I think, the best way we possibly could have. Didn't skip a beat, maintained quality, maintained good customer service, all that stuff. Very proud of my staff, very thankful to my staff. A lot of people really stepped up to help out. And then that was followed by another bout of strep. Now, I didn't even go to all the details, but the point of this video is not for your sympathy. It is because I know there are always people out there that are going through something worse, not possibly, but way worse. And, I know for a fact, even though it's much better as of late, there's still a stigma attached to talking about mental health. Again, it's definitely gotten better, but I think there's still a lot of people out there that need to hear this from somebody. And I'm very lucky that I've built a platform for myself where I, have garnered the respect of you wonderful subscribers out there. So I know that when someone hears this story, they can relate to it and hopefully do some good for themselves. Now, I should mention I've, seen professional help, therapy for many years to sort and navigate through all these, issues as far as my anger, my anxiety, and depression. I've dealt with anxiety and depression since my early teens. It's something that'll never go away, but it's a battle every day. And another thing about anxiety and depression is that, at least for me, when I run into these times, it's extremely important I share. I reach out to my loved ones and I talk about it, see my therapist, which unfortunately I recently changed my insurance, so I can't see the same therapist. And it kind of bummed me out. That was actually a big event for me that really bummed me out, but it's okay. Got to just find another therapist at some point. Eventually that'll happen. But one important thing is to not stay silent about it and to talk about it. And with this platform, I think it's very important that I touch upon mental health, which I don't think I do much publicly, at least not these days. I used to hold these charity events and stuff like that and be a bit more vocal about it. I think I touch upon it in some Instagram posts or YouTube community posts and stuff like that, because it's important. It's very important. It's important for people to hear this message. But it also puts things into perspective for me. And I'm not fishing for, for sympathy or anything like that. The simple act of talking into this camera is therapeutic enough. And in fact, I made a video similar to this on my Patreon weeks ago. But between then, even before that video and now, called Will Gomez, my best friend, called other my bandmates. My bandmates are my closest friends, essentially. Just spoke to people to really help me. And Amy Ernst, my wonderful assistant / office manager / HR / everything at Mission, to help me navigate through this. So I want you all to know out there, if you're going through anything similar, you're not alone. And in fact, I encourage you, no matter how desperate it may seem, no matter how much you just want to crawl under your sheets and disappear from the world and all that stuff, that's the last thing you should be doing. You should get out there. You should, do your best to be social and interact. You don't have to be jolly and lovely and all that stuff when you're out there. Just be out there. Remove yourself from things that will cause you to spiral even further. And that's why I'm doing it in such a public way, because in many ways it's going to create accountability, not only to you guys, but more importantly to myself. So, I'm still forcing myself to go to, a recent charity event in the neighborhood, which I was telling Amy, who normally sits right there, like how much I'm dreading it. I'm like, I just don't want to see people right now. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to put on a fucking smile and stuff like that. And you know what? That's exactly how, like literally every step from this office to that event, I was just fucking dreading it. But I got to the city bike, was in the sunlight, beautiful day. This was before all the crazy smoke that happened a few days ago in New York. Beautiful day, little breeze, not too hot, not too cold, and I was feeling so much better. Just the act of riding a bicycle, getting a little exercise. Got to the event, immediately started to crawl back into myself. Don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I don't want to make any new friends. I don't need new friends, It's all these thoughts going through my mind. And it ended up being a wonderful event. Ended up networking and getting some new business. Ended up, Brooklyn Brewery asked us if we'd be interested to become a semi-regular vendor in front of their, location in Williamsburg, or Williamsburg, Greenpoint, something like that. Very close to Mission Sandwich Social. And immediately made me feel better. Now, this may not work for you, but I encourage you to try it. I just encourage you to try to get out there. Get out there with zero expectations, and I'm pretty sure you'll find something positive out of it. One thing I learned in business class is something called opportunity cost, right? You have option A and B. If you go with option A, your opportunity cost is B. Because you didn't go with B, you lost it, right? That's the cost of going with A. Some may argue, why would you put me in that situation? It's just going to make me depressed that I lost out on B. Well, that's not the point. The point is that you made a decision and you're taking a step in a direction. Now, hopefully that decision isn't something like diving into alcohol and drugs, right? That may be the A and B. Do I go somewhere that is healthy and productive, or do I do something that's going to cause me to dive deeper and spiral further? Well, maybe your A and B is be social with your friends, have a nice dinner, go to the park, play some baseball, ride your bike, whatever it is, play some music, whatever you find productive and healthy that makes you happy. Even if it's not as enjoyable as it normally would because you're in a depressed state, inching towards it will help. And hopefully going with that option A versus the option B of drugs and alcohol and sulking or destructive behavior, hopefully that's the opportunity cost. You know, that's my point. And guess what? Talking to you about it right now makes me feel better. Now, I will say, I've been very, very fucking emotional. You know, last month's business at Mission, I'm just going to say it straight up, has been fucking garbage. It's been really rough. Every weekend pretty much had rained, which is, really puts a hamper on my business because we don't have indoor seating. There's many factors, right? There's the economy, it was tax time, whatever it is, who knows? It's the cause for the dip in business is an amalgamation of many little things. But our reviews are still good, our reviews on Google, our Google profile still come in very strong. But, that's been adding to my depression. It's just timing of, I've already was kind of in this down state, and then that happened, then the shit with my sous chef happened, and, just everything just really, compressed. And, that's where I had to take a step back and be like, okay, well, all these things had compounded, all these things suck, but it all compounded, and it's probably making it feel worse than it actually is. Anyway, I don't know what I guess I do know the point of bringing up, the business at Mission not doing well, but I'm just trying to say that, number one, think of the opportunity cost when you make decisions in a depressed state. Try to make the decisions so that the opportunity costs are the negative and destructive things in your life. And then number two, I guess, is take a step back and look at the whole picture and really observe what is causing your triggers and how one thing is affecting the other. Maybe a bunch of little things compounding to make it seem worse than it actually is, right? If you're already in a bad state of mind and then something mildly bad happens, well, that mildly bad thing's probably going to feel like a really bad thing because you're already in a bad state of mind, right? So that's my only two pieces of advice. It's literally how I'm dealing with my current anxiety and depression at the moment. And I'm inching my way out of it, one day at a time. And whoever's out there listening to this, if you get something out of this, I hope you get something out of this. Spread the word. Spread the word. If I make this video and two people make a video or talk about it and then they talk to two people, you can, that whole thing, right? You can see how quickly a positive message can really spread. And honestly, if this message helps, that's more than I could ever ask for. And even the thought of that makes me feel a lot better. Again, I'm very fortunate to have this platform. I'm very fortunate to have you guys. Thank you so much. And yeah, this was a little life update about Chef Brian Tsao. A little thought behind the mind of Chef Brian Tsao. So thank you again. With that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef, and I'll see you really soon.